Word on the street, I'm a suspect. Hanging with the killers in the projects. Taylor want a barrel, keep quiet. Catch a nigga slipping from behind. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. A nigga out like an outbreak. Chopper start to make the house shake. Nigga sweeter than a pound case. Eyes on your chin, better watch what your mouth say. Ain't with the footballs, got a nigga tripping. Fuck it, nigga keep sipping. AK with the beam on it. Clip sold on like a lean on it. My niggas like behind bars. Move 100 pounds for a nigga beat the charge. Jack down in the play, watch a fuck. If a nigga try to rob, fucking hit him with them. Word on the street, I'm a suspect. Hanging with the killers in the projects. They don't want a barrel, keep quiet. Catch a nigga slipping from behind. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. OG Bobby Johnson. 100 bands on your head, get the job done. Throw it up, nigga, where you from? Whole hood hot, cause your nigga hitting licks. Ain't made a meal yet, but he still nigga rich. Stick on my, stick on my, stick on. How you want it, nigga? Full of the city. Looking for the cash, searching for the bag. Young nigga wildin', throwing up flag. Shooters on the roof with a scope. Money man gon' treat you like the Pope. Keep me in the post.
Hello. How is everybody doing? Thank you so much for being here for this later live. Can everybody hear me and do I sound good? We are doing things a little bit differently with this after party live. The term after party is normally supposed to be in effect for after the premiere of whatever movie we are talking about that week. Of course, today it is Interview with a Vampire, but unlike those times, I am going to premiere the video that I made for Interview with a Vampire after we do the after party live. To see if we can get better engagement that way. But thank you guys so much for being here. If you are just arriving, hit that like button. Per usual, I have an awesome guest backstage. Not only are we going to chat it up with her and get to know what her channel is about, but we are going to get into all things Louis and Lestat. But before we get there, let me read a few of you guys' comments and see what you are saying out there. Thank y'all for being here. Let's see. I love vampire movies, always and forever. XOs. Absolutely. We're going to get into all that good stuff. Let's see. Vamps are my favorite horror creature. That is really good to know. I'm going to need you to elaborate on why. Let's see. Hello, TG. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see. I am here for this. Absolutely. Let's see. Hey, y'all. Hey, hello, Jay. Thank you so much for being here as well. Hello, everyone. Tony T. Thank you. Let's see. I got my nice mods in here. I love when I see you guys first. Let's see. Coming through to support. Thank you so much for being here, Nikki. You supposed to be here just on GP, just off of your love for horror. You supposed to be in the building. Thank you for coming through to support. I love you so much. Let's see. Hello, beautiful. Hello, V. Thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Prime Brad Pitt. Oh, we're going to talk about that because, child, that's the most handsomest man I've ever seen in my life. And let's see, we got one more down here. Let's see. Hey, everyone, sending positive vibes and positive energy. I love Anne Rice books, and the movies are some of my favorite classics. Yeah, we were going to get into Anne Rice and all of that good stuff. I think she has 12 books in the whole series. Very a lot of material to work with for us to have maybe gotten some more vampire movies by now. But not even wasting any time, I would love to bring out my guest. I found her when I was scrolling, hating on YouTube. I found Sin in the early stages of my little YouTube channel. I don't even think I had 1,000 subscribers. I think Sin had like 10K. I was like, oh, that's going to be me one day. One day, 10,000 people are going to care about what I have to say. Like, how she get 10,000 subscribers and I'm over here struggling. I was hating. Coming to the stage, coming to the after party is my girl Sin from Sin's Corner. How are you doing, Sin? I was hating on you.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. So you had me at the Candyman review. That was when I first saw you, I think. And I thought I could tell you were making your way pretty well at that point. So I knew a long time ago that you were going to you were just going to take off.
I don't know. I've always wanted to ask you. We're supposed to like get to know you, but I'm going to start off with my own personal question.
Yeah.
The angle of your camera, is it like some homage to Evil Dead or something?
No.
No.
No, it's not. Okay, no, it's not. It's because the way I have my screen set up for when I record, I have my section here. And then I'd been told that it was good if you do reactions to make a smaller section. So I made a smaller section for the reaction. Then that left this big blank up here. That's where I put my Terminator picture, because Terminator 2 is the best movie ever.
It is.
And yeah, thank you. And so then that left like a rectangle, and turning it a normal way I thought it just was too much me in the camera, and I didn't like that. So I angled it, and it gives a little more of not just, more than just my face, but also helps show this. And it's attached to my desk. I have my camera attached to my work desk because I have a day job, and I work here at my desk, and I have 2 monitors. So the camera's just right up here above my second monitor. What were you thinking?
I was all wrong. Like, no, every time I watch it, because I know from watching your videos, you love Terminator 2, but just the angle, I was like, that looks really Evil Dead. Look at Sam being creative over there.
Oh no, it's not. People have asked me about this before, like, why is your camera like that? Like, it's just horrible. But it was like, it just fit the best with my setup. So
it's very different. Well, now you have like something interesting to say. Like, you see those those creative angles in Evil Dead. That's what this is. Like, I
never occurred to me. I didn't even, because I watched my very first Evil Dead movie like full on paying attention. I watched 3 Army of Darkness a few weeks ago. I had a watch party with D Movie Man and some other of my YouTube friends, and I thought it was ridiculous. I couldn't stand it. But
really,
I'm not a fan.
Right. None of them, like, because it's a couple.
Well, maybe if I went back and rewatched them a little bit more carefully, the others that have been just playing while I'm working, so I didn't pay 100% attention.
Okay.
So,
how do you feel about the new installments?
I probably like them better than the originals, because the originals to me felt like really goofy comedic stuff.
Yeah.
And goofy comedy worked well for me in Tucker and Dale versus Evil. But in general, I'm not really feeling it with the Evil Dead. I prefer the actual full-on legit creepy scary.
Oh, I was trying to make you a whole fan of the first.
I've heard the first one's got a different tone than the second one.
Yeah, you should definitely start off with the first one, but it's still groovy. It's still, but it's a totally different situation. But how long have you been on YouTube?
Okay, so technically I've been on since November of 2018, but that doesn't count because my original plan for this channel was vastly different than what it ended up being. I originally wanted to be a channel that focused on decluttering my house. Because that's a constant struggle. Let me tell you, the struggle is real when it comes to that. And I made one video, and I was like, I decided I wanted to do something that I actually would really enjoy, which is all about movies. I love talking about movies. I love talking about stories. So my very first movie-related thing came on July 12th of 2019. So technically 4+ years.
Oh, wow. That is so different. Some people like, I started like, no, this was going to be a channel about decluttering my house that turned into me talking about movies. Oh man, what is the hardest thing so far for you about being on this platform? Because you've been here for a while. I thought you were more closer to myself because I've been here. Because I'm like you. I'm like, the first year doesn't count, but I always say that because I wasn't focused. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was still doing my teaching job to where I couldn't devote as much time to the channel. So it's really like been a rough 2 years for me. But technically 3. But I thought you and I were kind of in the same boat as far as how long we've been here. You've been here for quite some time. What has been like an obstacle for you as far as YouTube?
The main obstacle for me, I guess, is just trying to find the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have a day job which I absolutely love. I work in the audiobook industry and I love it so much. I don't, so like this is still a hobby side thing for me.
Yeah.
It will probably never become a full-time sort of thing unless I ever got as big as someone like Chris Stuckman, which will never
Oh,
happen.
wow.
But that's not even a dream or hope. Plus, I don't want to leave the people I work with. I legitimately love my job and my folks there. So, but the hardest thing has been like this past week, I was in Vegas for a business convention pertaining to my job. And from then until now, it's been a real struggle to get videos edited and put up. So I haven't been as, let's say, consistent within the past week or so, and consistency is important, and I try to be, but sometimes it is such a slog editing videos, as you know.
You guys, I literally just got the last piece of scotch tape on my interview with the vampire video. I just put a thumbnail on it mid conversation because it's not so much I love editing, but I don't at the same time because it is very time consuming.
Yes.
But
Yes, it is.
I actually love that you feel that way because so many of us get on the platform with the intention of, I'm going to be massive. I'm going to be, the biggest thing YouTube has ever seen and see all of this success. And that's like a really realistic approach that I haven't heard, just to go, I'm just on here.
Because honestly, it legit is for fun for me. If I wasn't enjoying myself, I wouldn't continue to do this, because the main reason that I started specifically gearing this channel towards movie discussion is because in my job, I would proof a lot of audiobooks, and the genre that the company that I work with primarily would do is called lit RPG. I don't know if you've ever heard that genre, but think stories like Ready Player One, stories that take place in a game.
Okay.
Except most of the stories I've worked on, I haven't enjoyed because lit RPG is not my favorite genre. There have been some that have been excellent. Feedback Loop by Harmon Cooper is great. Matt Dinniman's book, the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, is good. I haven't listened to that, but so anyway, whatever. There are exceptions, but I was getting to the point where I was kind of frustrated because I wanted to talk about stories that appealed to me. And so that's why I started the channel, was so I could talk about movies that I enjoyed and review movies, and it was always going to be a hobby side thing. Yeah, being monetized is great because that has helped pay for my movie club memberships so that I can go see the movies specifically to review for the channel. But yeah, it's just a for fun thing, for real.
Sensei, lower expectations. Relax.
So you're not teaching anymore?
No, I like really wanted to. I couldn't do it and do this at the same time.
It's rough. No, it's rough. So this is your full time now.
Oh gosh, it is, but this is not technically a full-time job because we don't get full-time money from YouTube. No matter
people have
what
no idea. People really have no idea, and especially so a good portion of my channel started off being reactions to trailers, and then I would analyze trailers from a storytelling perspective because I'm all about stories. And people do not realize that a reaction video can get thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views, but you're not going to make much money on that at all, because reaction videos, advertising on reaction videos is like nothing. No,
that's one of the reasons my videos are in the 30-minute range because it helps with that. But I'm so surprised, Sin. I thought she was going to have this vision because I had never looked. I went to get the link to leave it in the chat for your channel. And I was like, oh my gosh, Sin is on every single platform. I didn't know you had a Patreon. I was like, wow, she is really like me. I can't wait to hear all of her ambition for this channel because Sin is on everything. But it's just like, I love it, but I can take it or leave it. I really love my day job. I really wanted to devote as much time as I could. So I had to shift what I was doing just so I could put out the content that I do now. And it's still really, really time consuming no matter what I try to do. But your perspective is really, really fresh. What is your favorite video that you have done so far?
Movie reviews or reactions? Because
I say
one for each.
I say reactions.
Okay, my favorite reaction video that I've done so far is probably the one that made my channel explode. and that was completely took me by surprise, let me tell you. So I started doing reaction videos to comedy stand-up routines in 2020 because the world was going insane around me. And it was a dark time for most people, you know. And so I did a reaction video. I did some reaction videos to comedy stuff, and then there was this one I did. It was a Bill Burr stand-up routine. And it was, the title of what I reacted to was called Vagina Privilege. But it wasn't nasty.
It's the struggle channel.
Yeah, okay,
vagina. Vagina. It was a vagina privilege.
I didn't know like what I was allowed to say.
No,
anyway,
no.
It wasn't a nasty video. It wasn't anything explicit. But basically in this bit, he's talking about how he was like the one guy that got his girlfriend gave her a nice dinner and a nice card or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. And then in the end of the evening, she was slapping him and beating him up basically. And that was told to be funny, but it didn't strike me as funny at all. I thought it was actually really disturbing and sad because I have a great uncle who was killed by his crazy wife. And I see, you know, domestic issues and abuse issues and stuff like that. I see that a lot from the male perspective because I know a lot of men that have been mistreated by their women, whether physically, verbally, emotionally, mentally, whatever. And that must have really resonated with people on YouTube because that video just exploded. So I would have to say that's probably my favorite reaction video.
Wow. Last question.
Uh-oh.
What is your favorite scene, favorite character, or line of dialogue from this movie right here?
Oh gosh. Okay, so probably what my favorite scene is the very last one when Lestat, because it actually made me laugh. I actually laughed out loud. I had completely forgotten how comedic he was at certain points in here. And in the end, when he goes and he attacks Christian Slater and he turns on the tape or he's listening to the tape that Christian was playing of the interview, and he's like, "Oh, Louis is so whiny. I had to listen to that for centuries." I thought that was funny. That was my favorite line because it made me laugh.
It is. That's like one of the really good scenes. My favorite scene is a darker scene when Claudia gets burnt up.
You know what? I get. You know, I actually dislike the character of Claudia.
Oh, wow!
Did you dislike her? Because I didn't like
her because she's a. I mean, I was like, she was a child, but you know, they can only go so far.
Exactly. But the thing is, what I had forgotten about after she had gotten, there were only a few things I remembered from the first time I saw this, which was maybe once all the way through, way back in the 90s. I remember Claudia being burned up with somebody. I just couldn't remember who. And I remembered something happening with Christian Slater at the end in his car, but I couldn't remember at first if it was Lestat or if it was Louis or, you know, the Brad Pitt's character. But I do remember not liking Claudia. And I never really cared for Claudia. And when I was rewatching it, that was reinforced. What struck me was how quickly she was willing to just murder.
Oh yeah,
you know, like right away, like her humanity just went right out the door as soon as she was changed. You know, meanwhile Louis struggling with killing people. You know, he's eating rats. You know, and stuff. So
well, I always took that as she took to it so easily because she was a child when she was turned, and she didn't have as much impulse control as, you know, a Louis, or just lived enough life to really have any value for what human life represents. So it's just like, oh, I want blood, and I'm just gonna, you know, suck on the next person that comes.
She just always had that child, you know, and children can be very what's the word, egocentric. It's all about them. So, you know, and I guess she was kind of but you can't really say she was stuck in that mentality. She was only stuck in that body. Yeah, she grew up in her mind.
Yeah, by the time she killed Lestat, that was completely gone. That was completely dog. It's which we're going to get into. I love the series. We really get into her emotionally just impulse killing people because she's so bothered about the state and the condition that she is in, never aging. So yeah, but I didn't dislike Claudia. I like loved everybody here. I don't think I disliked anybody. My favorite character is Lestat, though.
You know, I thought Cruz played him really well. He had this really interesting mix. Hi, Dulcimerist. I don't think I've seen that particular one that you're mentioning. So I'm streaming to my channel as well.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that. Thank
So I
you.
saw that was enabled, so I decided to do that. He played this. He had an interesting mix of humor and coldness and kind of menacing and creepy. Like you never knew exactly what he might do.
It was. I loved him here. This is actually my favorite movie role from him.
Really?
Tom Cruise is not my favorite actor by far.
Yeah.
He's just not an actor that I kind of gravitate to because so many of his roles, not saying he's bad, it's kind of a mashup of kind of the same things. I know what to expect from him. This was completely different to me, and I feel like
Yeah.
this is the best that I've ever seen him act in anything personally. So he's my favorite character in the scene, Claudia, where she's getting burned up and they're putting the brick wall and burying Louis alive. I love that scene. I feel like it's really intense and just
Yes.
it's really great. I love
Very
it.
intense.
But
another scene that I felt was really dark, very dark, and it was the one where Lestat was playing with the escorts, like a cat with a mouse, you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that one was kind of disturbing.
I love disturbing.
I mean, I do too. I'm okay. I don't say that to mean that I didn't like it. I thought it was just when something really disturbs me, it's most of the time if I mention that it's effective, and I like that it's been effective. So sometimes things will disturb me to the point that like really I don't like it at all. That was very troublesome, and I really didn't like the scene in Bone Tomahawk. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
Okay, that scene. That disturbs me on a level that I don't like because I actually felt physically sick to my stomach when I saw it.
We have a whole lot of those. But I feel like this movie was just, not even the movie, just the actors. Everybody was captivating, beautiful, and top tier acting.
Beautiful,
It took me to watch this now. I remember watching this because, I was one of those teens. I thought that all of this movie was so gay coded and that every single one of these men wanted each other, and that if it wasn't, for the book and the time, that we would have all of these great sex scenes and love moments between Lestat and Armand, because that's just not something we were putting in the movies in the 90s. Then we get into the book. I was like, oh, there was never any sex? There was never any sex.
So I've never read the book. Was there none in the book?
There is absolutely no sex in the book between any of these men. And it took me watching it now to realize what the status of their relationship really was. And it was not in a romantic way at all.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I was watching an interesting video shortly before we went on, and it was I can't remember the guy's channel, but it was really cool. He was talking about the differences between the books, the book and the movie and the book and / books in the series. And he was talking about this aspect of it. So I guess I had a vague memory of feeling that a lot of the scenes between the characters felt very homoerotic.
Yes.
And that felt actually stronger to me in this one, yet nothing like that took place. I mean, when I was rewatching the movie, I was like, yeah, I can really pick up on those vibes, but nothing was happening.
No,
there wasn't even a lip lock. It was very close, but it wasn't that. And it was because the vampires apparently in her world, according to this video I was watching, they don't really, they're kind of asexual. They're not really interested in that. They are just interested in maybe companionship on whatever level, and also
a partner.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Regardless if it's male or female. And here it's just the fact that Louis was such a hot commodity. Everybody wanted them some Louis. I just thought that it was some sexual tension happening, but I just thought it was even that much more commendable that they were able to add that much tension and chemistry and that homoeroticism, even though there was no actual sex. Like they're like, it's so intense.
Yeah, it's there all the time. Think about it also, Claudia and her daddies. It really is like all these definite, feels like that's what it's supposed to be, and yet not really, but yeah, sort of, kind of. So like maybe it's something that can appeal to both gay and straight, I suppose.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't know.
Louis is definitely the woman in the relationship. He's more of the nurturing, feminine characteristics, like the motherly, matronly figure. Whereas you have Lestat, he is the overbearing, controlling dad, physical, like praying type of thing, especially
sort of abusive.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah. I
Especially
mean,
when we put Claudia into the mix, she's pretty much in the movie. I was like, Claudia is a whole Band-Aid baby. She's supposed to be a baby to fix their broken relationship.
yes, yes, that's exactly what the guy in the video said. You
Really?
know, that's exactly what he said. So, yes, that's true. And something that I think about, like you mentioned, how everyone was wanting Louis. I'm
Mhm.
thinking maybe it's because he had so much of his humanity left
Humanity
in
left.
him,
Yeah.
and he was different from all
Mhm.
the other vampires. He actually still cared,
Mhm.
and that like made him like this shining beacon to other vamps or something. But yeah, definite eye candy. Holy cow, I had forgotten Antonio Banderas was in here. He was such a big deal, you know, in the 90s.
He's gorgeous.
And it's like, wow, everyone in here was gorgeous. It's ridiculous. And the way the shots were framed, and I'm not
Mhm.
a huge Brad Pitt fan. I never really had, like, I appreciate him more now, I think, as he's grown older
Yeah.
than I did back in the 90s, because I felt like he was too much of a he was too pretty.
Pretty boy.
Kind of like how I felt about Johnny Depp. I think he
Mhm.
looks better now, or he looked better in his older years than he did like back in the 80s when he was this beautiful face and everything.
I don't stand for that. I think that they both just were equally fine as hell. That's
No,
just stand.
they were. It's true, but to me, that was like they were too beautiful. Like
Mhm.
I like the craggy edges
Mhm.
and you know the what comes with age
Yeah.
and especially in a man's face, because men tend to age generally better than women do.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
blessed with that thicker skin, you know, and it's disgusting. You know, the wrinkles in a guy's face and the crags and everything look better
Yeah.
than when it happens to a woman, unfortunately.
Yeah, I watching this recently, it even though at the time I know as a teenager, I was like, oh, Brad Pitt, he's just so handsome. Here he looks so feminine to me. I was like, oh my
He
God,
does.
he looks so feminine.
He does. And did you notice how often his lips were wet?
Yeah.
Like he, like he was slobbering all over him or something, or was like a tons of lip
Yes.
gloss. I'm like, dude, you need a napkin. Dry those lips off. That's like distracting me.
Yeah, but getting into everything I'm sure we both loved about this movie, they don't make movies like this anymore. Like, not even just, vampire movies, but just movies like this. At the time, this was a vampire movie that got the biggest budget out of any vampire movies. Though I thought it would have been Bram Stoker from a couple of years prior, but no, it was this one.
Interesting.
And the director, he's like, I really want to dive into this world building and the score and the costuming. It's so much attention to detail here, to where you can tell they really invested a lot of time in making this movie what it is.
Yep.
I was like, this is so nice. Why don't they make nice stuff anymore?
They're too busy throwing CGI and slapping, quick
Oh,
comic book movies out at us without care to quality. I
that sucks.
know.
That sucks. I was just really because when you watch movies and then you call yourself becoming a movie reviewer to critique stuff, you're looking all at everything else but the things that you used to look at, like, oh, the acting's great and Brad Pitt is handsome, but oh, look at the detail on those buttons. Look at look at the
Right?
tree, look at the grass, look at these old Victorian style 17th century, all this aesthetic going on around them, and then you have this really immensely like powerful score going on. It's just such an attention to detail, and then these subtle special makeup effects that I was like living for this whole movie.
Like the veins.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I had forgotten completely about that. I had almost forgotten completely about his eyes too. I think his eyes were really a really striking touch for Brad Pitt's character, because you just wanted to stare. I was like, wow, that's just so unusual. I was sorry. Go ahead.
It was kind of like a cat.
Yeah.
No, my favorite thing as far as the makeup was the transitions that we get to see Lestat go through. Once Claudia starts killing him, and they kill him repeatedly. Once his throat is slit and he drains out, and we get to see his body just pretty much dilapidate, and he's just sunken, and then they feed him to the alligators, and he returns back. It was so good.
It was good, and I like also that they didn't show that he just bounced back like that, and he's because like in movies today, they would in a matter of moments they'd be fine. But I like that we saw that vampires are almost completely immortal.
Yeah.
Obviously, there were some that were killed, when Brad Pitt goes on his revenge spree.
Mm-hmm.
But Lestat, he was killed in such a way that there was still enough of him left that he could start to regenerate, and yet it took
so long.
centuries. And even then, he was a husk,
We need to talk about that, because I didn't even put that here. I just kind of wrapped it up in my video. I thought that was such a cop out. I was like, you mean to tell me for however long Lestat has still been running around looking like at least it's the 18th and 19th century and it's the 80s? Where the hell has he been this whole time?
Yeah, just feeding on animals and alligators, I guess.
Even with that, I was like, he didn't change his shirt. He didn't do nothing.
Right, he just flopped around. Yeah, I guess, that's a good question that probably needs an answer. But my thought was that he was just in such bad shape. Yeah. He wasn't even fit to go out amongst normal people, like even in the darkness, because they would notice him. But you would think he would at least maybe prey on a homeless person or two.
Yeah, not even that, but just like, oh, Louis, run. It's like, I've never seen artificial light in all of these decades that I've been on the earth. Like, you don't know what a...
Like, he didn't know what it was, even though he'd been around for... Yeah, that's true. Hey, D.
Yeah, I see you down here. Let's see. Core memory. Oh, he always has a core memory. 3-year-old D watching this late at night while my mom is asleep, becoming invested, and then panicking and tapping the channel button on the VCR when Lestat hit the woman in the chest. Yikes.
You were way too young. Absolutely, D.
3? Like, what are you
Your little tiny eyes didn't need to be watching that.
You've been a very naughty little girl. And then he just transcends, and then he's on fire. Like, really, like, those special, like, effects makeup, it was just really, really good here. Let's see, Tyra's favorite saying is, they don't make this anymore. It is, TG. They don't. Like, I really need them to start making these movies again. So my eyes were dancing, and my eyes don't dance ever, like, hardly anymore, especially with movies being so dark. Like, I love how dark this movie was, but there was all of this shadowing and contrast and light. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah, like when the scene where he was in, something I meant to mention, I made a mental note of that, the scene where he's in the chair at the end, Lestat is in the chair.
Yeah.
And like, I guess Brad Pitt leaves, and then he kind of just goes back into the that was so
good.
Was such a nice shot. I love that.
So good. But just the ensemble cast here, and everybody just doing an amazing job. And Anne Rice, we're going to get into her getting into the guys in this movie, especially the actors. She barely wanted anybody here who ended up in the movie, especially Tom Cruise.
That's what I heard.
She fought hard for them to not cast him, and it really pushed him, like, oh, you don't think I can handle this role, or bring anything to this character? I'm gonna go like completely over the top in the best way and try to give the best performance that I ever have, which is why I feel like it's so good, because normally with his movies you can feel him kind of coasting and kind of going. He gives, but he only has to give so much. Like, you couldn't do that with Lestat. And these were her choices up here above. Of course, we have John Malkovich. She was really fighting for Julian Sands, and who is this over here? I can never remember his name.
Is that Jeremy Irons?
Yes. Oh my God, I was going to say Jeremy Downs. Jeremy Irons.
I'm terrible with names, but I do know his.
Yeah, these are a few of the the people that she was really gunning for, and then later on, she of course was like, I was wrong. He's amazing. Like, this is my little
He was good.
She was trying to push him out of this role. She even went as far as to beg the studios to switch his role with Brad Pitt, where Brad Pitt is Lestat and Lestat would be Louis. Could you see that? I couldn't.
No. I don't think that would have worked very well, because Brad Pitt, it felt like this role suited him, especially for his place in time in acting at that moment. Like, maybe now he could pull it off.
Yeah, but I could see she kind of wanted an older, distinguished, like an older Lestat in comparison to what she got, probably believing that they could handle the role a whole lot better. But I can't see anybody else being our Lestat at this point. And the Lestats that we have gotten hadn't, high key Queen of the Damned, which we're going to get into, weren't great.
That's right. I had forgotten about that movie, and that what's his name? I don't remember that guy's name who played Lestat in that one.
Stuart Townsend.
Him, yeah. He used to go with Charlize Theron. I think they used to be a couple.
Mm-hmm. This is something that I could not see. I could see it, but I can't. Daniel Molly, the reporter, was supposed to be what the role was giving to River Phoenix, and he died, a couple of weeks previous to the movie being
Okay.
shot. But
Okay.
with Christian Slater taking on the role, I really thought that it was really great that he took all of his salary that he got just for the role and donated it to River's favorite charity. I thought that was so nice.
Oh, I did not
But
know that. Interesting.
yeah, we would have been looking at all this gorgeousness. I was like, we would have been looking at Brad Pitt. Look at Brad Pitt. River Phoenix would have been, the reporter sitting across the table, longing to, later be a vampire. Can you see that at all?
I actually could see River Phoenix doing fairly well in this role.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know he'd been cast.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to mentally place him in this part. He was so young, though.
Yeah. Well, in the book, the reporter he's just referred to as Boy, so I'm assuming that he was really young.
Yeah. That's what that guy in the video was saying, because I have not listened.
You guys send me this video, Sin. He's taking my stuff.
I do. I'll try to look for it while we're chatting. I'll look for it. It's in my watch history. It's like one of the last things I watched. It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
But yeah, I think it would have been just beautiful man overload with the both of these men sitting across. Not to say that Christian Slater isn't
I was going to say, I think Christian Slater's, I think he's attractive.
No, he is. It's just the structure and the bone structure of River Phoenix and Brad Pitt's face and the blonde hair. It's just so, it mirrors each other. It just would have been too much beauty and femininity
too much similar facial structure and hair color.
Yeah, I like the contrast of, Christian Slater, the shorter hair, darker. It just would have been like, of course he's going to turn him. Why not? That's his long lost brother.
There you go. I sent you the link in the private chat, by the way.
Thank you. I'm definitely going to go watch it. I want to hear what I said. Avoiding the homophobic backlash. Last minute, we had Anne Rice, and some of the writers just tried to get Cher to portray Louis. Louis the Cher. Yeah, she was in fear, as well as the studios, because due to the time, she felt like the chemistry that he shares in the moment that he shares with Lestat were going to be too much, and they were going to ban the movie and consider it to be, more on the gayer coding of things, and maybe receive backlash to where the movie wouldn't perform. So before it even came out, the role was also offered to Cher. Eventually, the director and other people involved, it's like, what, we're settling on Brad Pitt, and this is what we're going to do. But it could have really been Cher. She's like, we're going to replace Louis with a female character to avoid this movie getting any type of ramifications. Can you see Cher?
I'm glad they did not do a gender swap on that. I'm not a fan of those things, these swaps that happen. Because if they had done that, then it would then the whole story would have been completely about the sexual chemistry, not about the deeper elements of the relationship and, wanting to have a companion beyond the whole physical thing. And I feel like it just would have been a distraction. It would have just been the romance type of.
Absolutely. And just Cher, and I just can't I can't see it. They took out so many things that were included in the book. I was like, we got all of this heavy panting and breathing, but the fact that Louis and Lestat low-key slept in the same coffin for a very long time.
Heard about that.
On top of him, like, oh, that's too much. We're not putting that in there. Just breathe on his neck and look like you guys are about to kiss.
Just
we're gonna
look like it's about to happen.
We're gonna cut to the next scene. But it's really a change in the time, especially in comparison to now, that back then in 94, they were considering swapping gender roles just because they didn't want any backlash from people who felt like this movie was too gay.
Too okay. Well, I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah. They shot down all of her little, like, girl, we're not swapping Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, and we are not casting Cher in the role of Louis. Terrible.
I think it would have angered a lot of fans as well.
Yeah.
I did not realize how old the book was, because I never read it or
76.
listened to it. Yeah, I thought it was something that happened in the mid to late 80s. No, wow, it took a while for this movie to be made. The video that I linked you to, he was talking about how long it had been sort of in development hell, because it just got switched around and swapped around and changed and like, changed hands so many times. And then finally it happened.
Well, I don't want to, because normally I focus on a few of the actors. I didn't really put Tom Cruise here because he was so established by the time that this movie came out. I didn't realize how long. I'm like, damn, he's been acting for a very long time.
Oh, since the 80s.
Yeah, he was really, he was the draw
Yes,
the reason why
the
they
star
cast
power.
him in the first place was, to
Mhm.
bring the people in. And you kind of had, I didn't realize how early on of a role this was for Brad Pitt in the place he was in his career. He
Mhm.
really hadn't really been in anything to where he was more than just a pretty face, or he was, in these little one-off movies like, Johnny Suede and just weird, cool world and stuff like that. Just other things at which he could have really, I was like, he really could have been relegated to just a pretty face, and we
Yeah.
wouldn't have got just as much as, I love his face, I love his acting just as much, and what he's brought to a lot of the roles. But I was thinking that this was maybe, I don't know how you feel, the first role to where I was like, oh, he's more than just a pretty face. He can also act. I don't feel like you share the sentiments.
Yeah, it took me a bit to warm up to him, honestly, because for a long time he did seem like just a pretty face.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you honestly what movie it was that made me, well, maybe I can. Because the one that's just coming to my mind right now, because of how good he was the movie Fury.
Okay.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, that's so later in his career.
I know. I know. It took me a bit. It took me a bit.
So you thought he was a pretty face up until Fury?
I thought he was a pretty face up until like well into the 2000s. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't hate him. He just didn't seem like he had this great depth and substance. Actually, I did think he was pretty funny in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I liked him in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but that wasn't a super deep role.
No.
So I don't know. Fury really helped me appreciate him a lot more as an actor, I think.
Let's see. I need to watch Bullet Train with Brad Pitt in it. Yeah, he was, a lot of his roles, which I can understand. He is very funny. He, like Tom Cruise, he's at such a comfort level of, Brad Pitt there. The people are going to show up, so he can kind of coast through roles. It's not, it's very easy for him. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the roles he has, he hasn't had to stretch himself, because I don't know where my mind was, but I was accrediting him to a movie that I think Leonardo DiCaprio was starring in, and I was like, he was really good there, and it was I was like, that was not him.
Leonardo was another little pretty baby face too. Took me a bit to appreciate him, even though he's still not one of my, like, I would probably rather watch a Brad Pitt movie than a Leo movie.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he, I think he kind of got out of that state of just being a pretty face with, his roles in Fight Club and 12 Monkeys and Seven. And I'm like, the man can't help it if he's beautiful, okay?
He can't. And he actually seems like a pretty decent, cool guy to me. That's what I think. I don't know him personally.
Tyra, stop hating on pretty ninjas. I am not, Dane. I'm not hating on pretty ninjas. I love pretty ninjas. But yeah, I think he's very distinguished now. So we're not, so focused on that, and we're really focused on his talents, because, once he popped out with Thelma and Louise, it was like, oh, we know what you're here for.
Yeah.
I also wanted to focus on Kirsten Dunst. Like, oh my God. Even though you don't like Claudia, she's amazing here.
Yeah, she was pretty good. I think she did a decent job. I don't know if my dislike of Claudia is clouding my judgment on her performance. She wasn't terrible. She certainly wasn't terrible. This is probably the first time No, you know what? This wasn't the first time I noticed her as an actor, but I remember her character. I had just forgotten it was her that had played the part. She was quite young. I do remember reading stuff that she said about the kissing scene she had with Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
and she was like complaining about his breath or something.
Dry. I just didn't talk about that kiss.
But she was just a child. I mean, it does feel. I'm glad they didn't really show too much, actually, because I had forgotten that as soon as she started to bend into the kiss, or down to kiss him, they got attacked. And I remember watching this part, and I'm like, yeah, I know she's not supposed to be a child. anymore, but she's
But
still a
yeah,
child. And this is a little bit disturbing to see her lock lips with an adult. So,
absolutely. Brad Pitt was 30.
yeah.
He was 30. She was 11 years old.
She was just a little thing.
Oh, but I thought she was amazing here. This was really her first, because this was before Jumanji. I was like, this is really really
Yeah,
early.
it was. Yeah.
But I just it made me think about child stars, and she reminded me of Dakota Fanning, starting off so early and
Right.
really being able to dig into a scene and stand, next to a Brad Pitt or a Tom Cruise and really command the scene. Like it was a lot of times where I was focused on her, like she's so great. She had a whole accent.
Yeah. And she carried herself like she did evolve her character pretty well. If you
Yeah.
notice, they start to dress her more adult
Yeah.
as the decades go on, and then she starts to carry herself more like a child, like an adult, sorry, and talk more like an adult, even though she's got this little child voice still. It's this weird contrast.
No, it's nice, and I'm glad that they aged her up. In the book, Claudia is 5.
I heard
So that would have
be
been totally
even more
different.
disturbing.
Yeah, they had a hard time looking for a 5-year-old that could do this commanding ass role. So they went with her, not even looking. She was actually the very first person to audition for this role, and they were like, "We found her."
Wow, they didn't have to search very hard, did they?
No, she was the first one. And I was just getting into, I was like, who are the child actors we have today to where we can grow with them within their career to go, I remember you when? And I was like, we really don't have any who have really worked their way up to the ladder to grow their craft, because there's so much nepotism going on and somebody knows somebody of a cousin and this is whatever. Somebody's always related to somebody. I don't think we really have child stars now to where it's like, oh wow, I remember when she was in that thing and she's just become so incredible now and has all this training through the years. It's nobody.
Yeah.
Let me get
did the Fanning sisters did they get in through nepotism?
The Fanning sister. What are they in? I'm trying to.
Dakota was in Man on Fire with
No,
Washington.
No, I don't believe so.
They might be some of the closest.
I don't believe so.
Dakota was a really, really good child
really
actor.
really good.
I could see her pulling off a role like this. I could see her doing
weird.
that.
I don't love Dakota as much as an adult actress. As
Neither do I.
Oh, okay.
Neither
it's not just me.
No, it's not just you.
It's like she's tired. Like, I've been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah, she just coasting.
Let's see. How do y'all feel about them race swapping Louis and Claudia? We are going to get into Interview with the Vampire in a second. Actually, Dane, thank you so much. Thank you for that $5 super chat. Dane said, let's get to it. Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and start rolling over into that. Have you seen the series Interview with the Vampire?
I have not. And
no.
I know. I've heard it's good. I know.
So
I've heard it's good, but part of the reason why I didn't is exactly for what Dane mentioned. I am so sick of race and gender swaps, those types of things, and also sexuality swaps. I'm just like, because I feel like now, 20, 30 years ago, I wouldn't have felt like there was any sort of agenda behind it. And nowadays it feels like there is. So I'm just inherently annoyed by it.
Oh, but discuss it, saying
I've heard that the show, I think Dee told me that the show, or he mentioned somewhere, maybe on Twitter, I can't remember, but it was from Dee that I got indication that the show is really, really good.
Yeah. Well, we already kind of covered this dry kiss. I upon rewatching it, it didn't bring or take away anything from the scene to where we actually, like, not that we would need it anyway, but it didn't serve any purpose. So it's just like kind of sadistic to me for them to even have this here. I don't know if this is in the book. I would think so, since they were strategic about it, but we didn't really need it. It didn't really enhance to go, this is her pretty much kind of saying her goodbyes. We got the gist without this. We didn't need this. And I feel like it's, a bit disturbing, but like,
no, it was. It absolutely was. As I mentioned, I agree, they didn't have to. We already got the gist of how she felt about him throughout, her life with them. And it wasn't necessary. I mean, like they went all out with this, a child and an adult, and yet they didn't with the men.
A man to kiss.
It's like, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of kissing anyway. I'm not No, okay, no. Let me take that back. Like in movies, I don't like to see. I don't like to see intimate scenes, and I'm just that's not my thing because I feel like y'all keep it between yourselves. And so I'm just not crazy about it because it's, I don't know, to me it's just such a personal sort of thing.
Well,
Eh,
you guys, I'm here for all the sex and all the intimacy that you want to show, all the naked bodies,
I guess
all
this is
of
the
the
last time
snapping
I shall
lips.
be on Struggle Reviews.
No, absolutely not, Sin. I love that. Like, I always bask in, if there's something like, are we not going to get any sex? Is this not a rated R
No, I
type?
would rather not.
No,
You show that, please.
where's the sex in the
Like,
movie?
just fade to black. We get the idea. We don't need to see you guys pretending to do the deed. It's
Where's the nudity? Where's the ass? I want some sex. Ah, where's the cheeks? Oh my god, that's me. That's just me. I love it, Sin. Yes, but we absolutely did not need this.
no.
Before we get into Interview with the Vampire, the series, let's get into this. I know that this is something that you've seen. Um, I don't know how many years it was before I even correlated that this had anything to do with Anne Rice or supposedly a sequel to Interview with the Vampire. That's a heavy question mark on that sequel. I don't even know why it's associated. This is supposed to be, Lestat going off, Louis is still whining, and this is him, transitioning into modern day, living his best life. But the movie wasn't, executed to the best of its ability. I think mostly it's remembered for Aaliyah and her performance
Yes.
and, the costuming and all of that good thing. One of the few things she got to do before she passed away. But outside of that, I don't think it's revered as a really good movie.
No, and I saw it once just because, and I'll tell you why. Well, number one, I do like vampire movies. So I like to watch them. And also because by the time I watched them, she had already passed. And so that was part of the draw for me. Well, I'm curious to see what did she do before she passed away.
Yeah.
And I remember I wasn't super, I mean, they're both beautiful to look at, but she wasn't, I mean, not just her, but like the story itself,
Yeah, it just wasn't.
it didn't work for me.
And the
very well.
vampires were different. This was us getting into those 2000s era vampires where everybody like low-key looked the same.
Yeah.
Everybody was just attractive, kind of dressed dark clothing and had, veins and veins that popped up when they got mad. Like everybody like low-key looked the same. But she looked, I thought what they did with Aaliyah and what she did with the role for this to be one of her first real steps into acting was really, really good. Outside of that, I'm not looking at this as anybody's sequel.
Yeah, I think I knew that it was an Anne Rice related thing. I guess I had just forgotten that he's Lestat, the same character as Tom Cruise, because I've never read the books, like I said.
And see, Dee says she killed it, literally and figuratively. My favorite character in aspect of, I'm telling you, he's talking about Claudia.
Yeah, Claudia. Yeah.
When she flies,
she was just such a little.
Cuts her hair off, runs to the mirror, and it's not grown back. Oh, I loved it. Like, can I change? I want to change. Like, girl, you can't change.
Yeah, I remember that struggle that she had with the fact that she could never be an adult. That's what she wanted so bad. And I remember that was kind of a tragic part of her character, but she just still, because she was always looking like this child and she was behaving like a little shit so many times. I'm just like, you brat, I just don't like you. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of how I felt.
Getting into the show, oh my fucking goodness.
Okay, how many seasons are there? Just one so far?
It's just one.
Okay.
Season 2 is coming soon, next year. This was so good, Sin. Getting into your super chat question, Dane. The race swapping at first, I was like, all right, here we go. The way that I take the race swapping with a grain of salt and what Louis is supposed to represent. He's supposed to represent, a black man, as well as Claudia in this. I think they moved it to the 19th century. I talk about it a little bit in my video. It wasn't without purpose. Louis is that, and they intertwine it into his story so well to where it kind of makes him, what I call him, a triple minority in my reviews. Him being a vampire, him being a black man, and him being closeted. He's a gay man.
Okay.
And where it I take it with a grain of salt because even though they are supposed to represent Black people in the show, they are on the fair side of Blackness. I believe that both of them are biracial. I'm not completely sure. I know the actress who plays Claudia is, so it's just like, we see it, but on a dark street with dim light, you guys could probably pass. You guys could probably pass along with Lestat, but it does, have a big, heavy weighing on his standing in society, and him being Black, but also being very wealthy, and with that, he's still kind of looked at as just lower class just because he's Black, and he's also dealing with being closeted to where he eventually meets Lestat, who is But this show was amazing.
I've heard good things about it, so I have a question. So certainly, if they're going to remain a little true to the way the vamps are in her books, once he turns, he just wouldn't be anything anymore. He wouldn't care.
Oh no,
that's the thing. So yeah, they definitely made
all the
changes.
me and all my sex loving. There is so much sex in this show.
Okay, I might stay away, Tyra.
There is so much sex in the show. It is not alluded to. It is not, an undertone of sexual tension. No, he and Lestat are getting it on all the time.
Okay.
But apart from that, even though I love that, the story is really, really good. You get so much complexity with Lestat and Louis and Claudia in time to flesh out their characters and elaborate on more stuff in the book in a way that you just can't do in the movie.
Yeah.
It looks amazing. It's like really gory. It's dark. You really get into, I love when you said earlier that Louis' relationship with Lestat is often abusive. It's so present here.
Really? It's
so present here, like abusive is an understatement. It's really gorgeous. It really reminded me of how I felt when I watched I'm just thinking Red Rum. Sleep Doctor.
Yeah.
Sleep
Doctor Sleep. Doctor Sleep.
I was like, Red Rum.
Wait, are you talking about The Shining or are you talking about Doctor Sleep?
Dr. Sleep.
Okay.
The way that was shot, that beautiful shot where we have Rose the Hat, she's floating over the clouds looking for, it's that like times 50.
Okay.
It's really, really good. If you can, stomach the romantic side.
I'll just fast forward. Like, we don't need to see this. I don't want to see this, please.
Yeah, they heavily decided to like, okay, you know what? It's here in the book. We're just gonna, get them all together. So that goes for Louis, that goes for Lestat, and that goes for Armand as well. Everybody is together.
Okay.
Very, very deep relationships, but other things are so layered and just really interesting to where, even though I love it, that is like the least factor that I am worried about. It's just, watch it, y'all. I was very amazed. I was like, here they go, race swapping and, trying to bring back old properties we already have. Interview with the Vampire. We don't need another one. Complaining. By the time I watched it, I was like, oh my God, it's just 7 episodes. Why would they give us 7 episodes of one season? Everybody knows we need to even know.
Sometimes that makes them better though, Tyra.
Oh,
because
God.
Sometimes longer episodic seasons, the writing starts to get a little weaker. I've mentioned this before in some of my videos that I actually like shorter Oh, 8. Well, I just want
an even number.
I want them to squeeze out one extra. Okay.
One more. Let's see. I second that top 10 sex scene list. Yeah, it was the way that it's shot. It's even though a lot of the things are graphic, it's really bloody and really gory. And they hold true to a lot of the things in the book. They also give them different, aspects and different powers that they may not have had in the book. Just that, and them both dealing with not only being vampires, but being gay vampires and being closeted gay vampires in interracial relationship in the 1900 New Orleans. Like it's a lot. And then Claudia, like I don't know how you're gonna feel about Claudia. Claudia, it may work for you because she's aged up here as well to be more I think she's
not a child.
No, she's still a child, but it's more between, I think she's maybe 14, 15 in the show. I'm not totally sure, but it
still
works
a disturbing age for any sort of
absolutely, but it works to where a lot of the things that she does, you see them as being, you know, a little bit more justified. And she's oh my gosh, she's such a killer. Like, you thought, like, the fact that you say that Claudia was killing people was like, oh, it's just a lie. She's just killing people. This Claudia here is like literally killing everybody.
Okay.
She is vicious, like far more vicious than Lestat. But where we kind of lean into it a little bit in 94, the way that they are able to do it here and really get into the tension between Claudia and Lestat and her learning from him to like later like low-key best him, it's so good.
So a similar sort of thing happened. So in the first season, is it the whole first book or is it just part of the first book?
Let's see. They kind of do a little bit of what they do in the movie. They kind of take certain things from other intrigues to kind of get it along, but it is mostly the first book. Everything that's in the movie is here. Everything in the book is pretty much here. They just kind of there's just sex. That's the only thing. There's sex and they're in an actual real life relationship. And Louis is Black, so that adds a different dynamic, as well as we get into Louis' family. We get into Louis' brother, which in the book, you know, is the catalyst for him to be depressed.
What I heard, which surprised me because obviously, you know, in the movie they make it a wife and child.
Yeah.
And because like I said, I had nothing to compare it to because I have not consumed any of the books.
Oh, please watch it, Sin. Just skip through the sex, you know.
I definitely will.
Just not even that, or just think of in the relationship of them kind of being in an abusive relationship. Like, there's no farce of anything. Like, Claudia is definitely their child. They're in this relationship to where Louis wants nothing more to just live in his great relationship and kind of have Lestat all to himself. He wants monogamy, whereas Lestat is kind of bisexual and he could go wherever he wants to at any time. Mm-hmm. And then it's bloody. Everybody's dying all the time. It's so great.
You sound like me. I do like violence and stuff like. Well, it depends. It has to be done right. If it's too much, then I get desensitized to it, and it just doesn't have the effectiveness as maybe they want it to.
Yeah.
But I do like this. Okay, so I've mentioned many times on my own channel, I am not into romance movies. This is probably part of the reason why I just rather not see. You know, I would rather watch a video of action and killing and thriller and mystery and suspense than any nice, wholesome, sweet romance story. No.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Coming from the Latino slant, I appreciate it. I think it's enough balance here to where it's something here. Let me see. Here we go. Hello, The View with Drew. Hey, everyone. What's up? Thank you for being here. It's something here for everybody, whether you like romance, whether you like the violence, you like intriguing stakes, scenery, graphics.
Are you talking the show or the movie now? Or both?
The show.
Okay.
I actually like this better than the movie, honestly.
Okay.
I did, like, minus the sex, because it's not just about that.
Sure, Tyra.
No, it isn't. I like it's just so good. The acting, I believe, because shoot me, I have never seen Game of Thrones.
You know what? Game of Thrones was like, okay, no, I won't even get started because I could rant about that show. Okay, sorry. Proceed.
But the lead here, I believe he's from Game of Thrones.
He is from Game of Thrones. I was actually going to mention that.
They were talking about, you know, how great he is there. I didn't know that. This was my first introduction to him. He is a really good actor. Like, not just him, everybody here is really great. The chemistry between him and Lestat and just the performances that they are able to give in the show and the emotion that he's able to give in a scene and conveying that he really loves this man. I really went to go and check to see if these men were gay. That's
I do that too sometimes.
I wanted to know.
I get interested about a person, you know, if I like their performance, I do go check like what they're like, what they do. Yeah.
I wanted to know if it was coming from that much of an authentic place to where I could go, oh, of course you're attracted to, you know, Louis. You know,
like you don't have to reach that hard.
You have to reach that. Like, no, these are as far as the lead here, Louis, he is a heterosexual man married with a child. I was like,
I didn't know he was married.
Is acting.
Yeah, for sure. I did. I know he's a good actor. I liked him in Game of Thrones.
He's amazing here. Whatever you like there, it's double down here because he is the lead in the show. And this is the best. He just did I can't remember the actor's name, but he adds so much to Lestat. I was like, I didn't think it could get any better than what we got in the movie. And they just absolutely proved me wrong. And I can't wait for the second season. But let me leave this here because I swear I was like, oh my God. Please watch it, Sin. It's amazing.
What outlet is it on?
It's on AMC.
AMC. Okay, I don't have AMC.
Which is why it's hidden and nobody really saw it to even just know about it. I didn't know about it. The subs told me about it.
Oh, you didn't know about this show? I knew about it a while back, but I just never checked it out.
One of the subs was like, check out. I was like, all right. I mean, I was like, oh my God. It was one of those things. I know when I love something because I don't want to review it. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to enjoy it. That's when I know like something's really good to me. But are we done with the vampire genre? You think we're done? I miss the 90s. Like, there's so many vampires here from different, like, we have campy, romantic, handsome. I don't know what the hell that Transylvania old aesthetic down there.
Which one? The one? Oh yeah, Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Very Omen down there. Then we have Pee Wee. From Buffy, right there.
I forgot about him.
Right?
I forgot about him being in that.
Then you have the likes of, Wesley Snipes. There was just so much. And then, sexy Selma Hayek,
with
all that
snake.
Stuff. Yeah. There was just a lot of that. And then I kind of have the Twilight crew up there because I felt like once they came, it was like, all right, that's enough. we don't.
Oh, gosh. The Twilight made me so angry, Tyra, because I listened to the books. My brother and we both listened to the book at the same time because it was a big deal. Like, and the cover was interesting. And I watch it and I'm thinking to myself, surely this is going to get better. This is such a big deal. When is it going to get, and it doesn't get better and it doesn't get better. So then the movie comes out and I think, well, surely the movie's going to be better. And it wasn't. And I was so angry. And then I decided maybe the second movie would be better. I decided to quit listening to the books. Second movie will be better. It took me months to watch the second movie because I could only take but so many times of watching Kirsten Stewart blink her eyes. You know how she was, oh my gosh.
Edward! I'm just
I was like, I can't. God. Like I would get chills because it was so bad, And after that, when I decided, nope, I'm out. I'm done with this. So I don't like at all these vampires in that world. No, just ridiculous.
Well, I think between that and, which I loved at the time, shows like True Blood, it was kind of like, okay, it's enough. We've had enough, vampires. But do you think that they should make a comeback? And is there anything left to explore with vampires? Because there used to be so many movies. Now it's not, so much a focus. It's all about, the possession movies and you Ouija this and it was the devil. Those movies.
I don't think we're ever really going to be done with the genre. The vampire genre has been around since forever, since motion pictures started, basically. And something that I really appreciate, so I like vampires because a lot of times the depiction of them is that they're so cool and beautiful and sexy and all this. And there's something really interesting about the whole bite the neck aspect. It's like it's all sexy and everything.
It automatically makes it sexual.
It is. That's true. It does. And see, that's the thing. So to me, I like it when you've got these, instead of showing us them blatantly just getting it on, I like just the hints of it. Yeah. And what could possibly be. To me, that is so much more effective than showing them actually pretending to do the deed. But I also like when they show vamps that are nasty and scary. Yeah. Like the vamps in Blade 2.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Oh my gosh.
It's so good.
And the vamps in The Strain, that show The Strain, Guillermo del Toro's I never finished it, but they had the very similar, like their mouths they were nasty.
No, what did I just watch because it was just on? It's the one with Ethan Hawke.
Oh, Daybreaker.
Daybreakers. I was like, they're so ugly. I love this.
I like that movie, actually. Right, it's very interesting.
It was very different. Yeah, one of the last few kind of vampire, movies that we got before it was like, all right, we need a break. But when it does return, I'm hoping that we can explore. I put all of these here just to show how many varieties that we can get. It doesn't always have to be, the smoldering, handsome, but I think that the first depiction of a vampire was Nosferatu, correct? And he's hideous.
He was gross. Hey, they are making another movie. I think Willem Dafoe.
That's gonna be good.
Yeah, because he played that character, didn't he? Wasn't that Willem Dafoe that played him in another movie about the making of Nosferatu?
I believe so. I haven't seen it in a while, so I can't confirm. But I think so.
I thought there was something new that they were making that had the same. Anyway, 30 Days of Night. They were nasty.
Very nasty. Very good.
I like them when they're scary too. I like
that they didn't speak. They were ancient and they didn't speak any ounce of English.
And they had this weird guttural type of language. I like the vamps. Now the vamps in Underworld. I love them. They were so quick. They were cool and kick-ass.
Yeah.
And Celine, she was just awesome. I loved her.
Oh, yeah. We love, Celine before they were fake girl boss and everything. Oh, let's not even go there.
Exactly. No, that's true, because that was pulled off really effectively before all this whole thing that you're talking about.
Yes. But getting pretty much to the end of our road with sin. Aww. Where is our part 2? Would you be here for not even just a part 2 to this, but just them continuing on getting into Anne Rice's books and giving us, more movies?
Are they going to?
Would you be here for it?
I would be here for it. Of course I would. Absolutely. I wish I'd seen this movie on the big screen. I was thinking that myself when I was watching it, because I didn't see it on the big screen at the time, and I really wish I had.
I just think with her having 12 books, and not even that, even just because I haven't read the books either, but we do homework when we watch a movie, and there's just so much that they haven't explored. So I was like, I wonder why they didn't leave this movie up open to maybe a part 2 situation, because I know the director wanted to. But at the end of this movie, we have Louis. He actually feeds on the reporter who's like, I'm here, can you just turn me? He actually feeds on him, and then he disappears. He doesn't turn him. He goes out to seek out Lestat, and he finds Armand instead. Armand turns Daniel the reporter, and they live their best life and have this whole relationship.
Oh,
I was like, we could have went, because in the movie, Armand is just so heavily trying to find a link to the new world, the passion, some inspiration for life, and then we have this fresh new vampire that he meets and turns, who was kind of a student of Louis at the time, and we kind of mix up all the things there, instead of even though I love Louis is still whining, I love that, but I was like, we could have left that open to something completely different. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm like, so was Tom Cruise's Lestat following Louis? Is this why he was in the back seat?
That's what I would assume, that he was stalking him. That's the only thing that makes sense, unless he could somehow smell it. No, he had to have been stalking him.
Yeah, because this was a whole different. He met him. He said the last time he seen him was in the 80s. This is 94, and he just like, oh, I'm here. I'm like, oh, where the hell he come from? Like, he was just dilapidated, and the shadows not changing his 19th century shirt.
Yeah. I got the feeling that there's a scene where it shows Brad Pitt coming out of some place, and it's a shot from above. I don't remember what time period and what place, but it was a shot from, maybe it was still in New Orleans, a shot from above, almost like he was being watched. So I get the sense, and maybe that was just my imagination, but I remember when I was rewatching it this time, I remember thinking, oh, I bet this is Lestat kind of just watching him, and he's been around this whole time. So that might just be, might not even be a thing, but that's the way I'm going to put it in my head.
All right. Well, Sin, I'm going to read a few of these comments before we get out of here, and then let you tell the people what you do and where to come and find you. Let's see. Oh, it's the end.
It happened so fast. My gosh.
Yeah, it's the end. TG, it's always the same hour. I think they were having such a good time. It's like, oh, that's it. Yeah. We're going to leave here and go watch the premiere of my video for Interview with a Vampire. Let's see. Yes, this is it, unfortunately, but it doesn't have to be the last time if Sin wants to come through again. Let's see. William Dafoe was in
Shadow of the
Shadow
Empire,
of
yeah.
Empire back in 2000.
But I heard that he's coming back, unless I'm completely confusing him with another actor. I heard he was coming back to play in Nosferatu.
See, I don't want a part 2. Okay, TJ, I do. It doesn't have to be a part 2, but just a continuation of those books. And it's just so much more to say versus what we got to see. Let's see. I cannot wait for season 2 with Armand. Yes. Me neither.
Who plays Armand?
God.
Okay, that's okay. If you don't know, it's okay.
No, he's young. He's not
probably no,
really really well known. He's like a fresher talent. So, child, I don't even know Lestat. I should know these people names because they were amazing, but I was just so focused on the brilliance in the show that I didn't pay attention.
No, I know what you were focused on.
I wasn't. Let's see, right, PG? I'm enjoying this live. Thank you so much, Bree. You guys make sure you go and support and go and watch my video premiere. Sin will definitely come back and we can, talk about something else great. Let's
Absolutely.
see. AMC brought the rights to all Anne Rice's novels. Oh wow. So nobody, I mean, I could understand that, and maybe that's what we're getting with the show. My fear with the show is because it's not getting a lot of fanfare before we get to where I would like for us to get, it's going to get canceled. I was surprised that I was like praying, bye honey, I was praying that we got the season 2 that we got. Like it's really not getting enough eyes on it because it's not on something like a Netflix. I'm hoping that if we got a season 2, maybe we can get a season 3. God dang it. Let's see. Lestat, I'm back. It just popped up like, oh, like I'm here. I'm assuming I don't need an introduction. Let's see. It's TG, not TJ.
Okay.
Let's see. Nah, it's TJ now. I love you guys. Sin, I am going to give you the screen solo dolo for a second. Oh, pressure. Yeah. Get your Evil Dead on. And tell these people, where to find you, what you maybe have coming up on your platform, and why they need to come subscribe to your channel. Take it away, Sin.
The pressure. Okay, so I can be found at Sin's Corner. Just my little corner of YouTube. I like to, my favorite thing is to do movie reviews, to talk about movies. I do live streams sometimes, and I recently put up a review for Anatomy of a Fall, and also I'm hoping to get up sometime this week. I'm still recovering from my Vegas trip. My upcoming review for The Marsh King's Daughter, which I went to go see right before Vegas, and I was pleasantly surprised to find that I didn't utterly hate Daisy Ridley in this movie. So yeah, that's, as you can see, a lot of my stuff is reviews. I've started to move away from reactions and get more heavily into reviews. I'm trying to actually get myself inserted into critics groups so that I can get access to screeners more and more. So yeah, it's happening someday. And that's all I have to say, Tyra. You can put yourself back on, please.
Fine, then.
I don't like being the center of attention. It feels so weird, even though it's, I'm on YouTube, right? And I have to get used to talking to a camera, but still, it feels weird you do that.
This has been really great, Sin.
Absolutely.
Actually, because I always try to have my guests lined up if I can for my movies. I know soon The Craft is coming up. If you are interested, I would love to have you on for that. I think that would be a really good fit. I think Craft, you remember The Craft, right?
I do. I've seen it once years ago, just like Interview with the Vampire. So I wouldn't mind rewatching it.
All right, you guys. So whenever The Craft is in the queue, which will be pretty soon, we will have Sin back on. Now, getting into what I have going on, The Devil's Advocate is up next. Right. I also have a guest with that. So we will, replay it and do the same thing that we've done now, but, just with a different person. So be on the lookout for that, as well as my review and recap for Rap Shit that will be coming up, I think, Saturday also for episode 3 of that. But, once again, y'all know YouTube does not love me.
That is so stupid. Like the troubles you've been having.
All right. Stay on my community tab to stay aware of, what I'm doing, when I'm dropping, because 9 times out of 10, you will not be notified. But thank you guys so much. Let me read these comments. Where is Perfume? The story of murder. Good. But you guys have been absolutely awesome. I have left Sin's link in the chat. Be sure to go and check her out. She is on all platforms and all that good stuff. We will definitely see you guys next time for the craft whenever Sin is available to grace us with her presence. I see you guys for my review of Interview with a Vampire in about 10 minutes. Make sure you get on over there and watch that live. Thank you guys so much. Be sure to hit that like button. We will see you next time.
Adios.